And welcome to the Marcus and Mike Show, guys, where it is less than almost 24 hours till NFL kickoff on Thursday Night Football. Packers take on the Bears. But before
Yeah,
we get started, we have to welcome my man Marcus to the show. Marcus, how is your day going so far?
pretty good. I was just reviewing my fantasy football team. It looks all right. I know people don't want to hear a whole lot about fantasy football, but
Fantasy football is life, man. What are you
yeah,
talking about?
no, I know. But sometimes people get bored when you talk about your own personal fantasy stuff. But hey, I think my fantasy team's pretty good. So, and yours is actually pretty good too.
Yeah, so if you guys are not aware, Marcus and myself started a fantasy league. We have 12 people in our
Yeah,
league, and it just happens that me and Marcus play each other week one, and like we were kind of pre-show talking about our fantasy teams,
who
and
who- who's your quarterback?
my quarterback's Baker Mayfield.
Oh yeah, Baker.
I
Okay,
actually
see,
picked him up in like the sixth round, so I was kind of
that's
surprised
crazy, man.
by that. Yeah.
Baker's throwing for at least 36 touchdowns this year, man.
Yeah. If you guys have not done your fantasy draft yet, you still have 24 hours to do so, and do not get a quarterback early. Get your running backs. Like if you were in a Yahoo league, they do a two running back system over there on the Yahoo. Get two tailbacks early, so because
Like yeah,
tailbacks go boom, 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 boom.
like
So
my wife, after the Ezekiel Elliott news, she had to drop Tony Pollard, even though he will be good at okay in week one.
yeah,
But we thought he was going to be the total starter week one, right? So
right,
you dropped Tony Pollard, and I think she moved in Kenyon Drake from Miami because he's the starter.
yeah.
You can't, you know what I mean? Like he's the starter, he's going to get most of the carry, so you have to make those kind of moves.
And Kenyon Drake is pretty much the only player over there
Yeah,
in Miami now. They traded away Stills and uh, who else is their wide receivers? That they don't have anybody.
yeah. No, I get you. They have another good running back in Ballage from Arizona State. But yeah, Kenyon Drake's going to get most of those carries and catches out of the backfield.
and he's a thick body individual, so like
Yes.
he'll get a lot of touchdowns in the red zone as well.
And he is sneaky fast too. And I'll never forget. Remember that game-ending play when they tricked New England?
Yes.
It was just Kenyon Drake and Rob Gronkowski the last 10 yards, and he just. I mean, you can see Gronkowski's a hell of an athlete, but he's no. He wouldn't be good in the Oklahoma drill.
Yeah, if you guys do not remember that play, Google
Yeah,
it. It basically looks like a professional athlete versus like a junior high kid. Like
right.
Gronk just
It's
looks
funny.
so out of place,
It
like in
does
that
look funny.
play. So
Right.
as you alluded to, uh, we were talking about fantasy, but you segued perfectly into our show. Ezekiel Elliott did finally sign his contract with the Dallas Cowboys. They offered him a 6-year contract, $90 million, $50 million guaranteed. Let me ask you right off the bat. You're shaking your head. Did the Cowboys pay too much and they just caved? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Well, both and both. Yes and yes. They both caved and they paid too much. Now, let me just put a disclaimer on this. I am a Dallas Cowboys fan. Are the Dallas Cowboys better today than they were yesterday? Yes. But that being said, so I'm fine with it. Let's go get them. We're all in now. But man, Jerry Jones, dude, like this is why sometimes I will call the Cowboys a dysfunctional organization. They talked all that crap about we're not caving in, we're not setting the market, and this and that, and I believed it, and I don't know why I still believe it. I don't know why. I mean, I usually take people at their face value. I'm not gullible, but I believe men are men, and don't lie to me. And Jerry Jones says a lot of lies, man. I mean, they caved. I mean, he had more guaranteed money than Todd Gurley. They set the market again. I mean, this is big time stuff. If you're Saquon Barkley, man, you just a couple of years from now, you are going to be paid like a quarterback.
Yes.
So absolutely because of Ezekiel Elliott and Jerry Jones. Rocky Arsenault, Ezekiel Elliott's agent, did his job, man. So I would not have caved, man. I just would not have put line in the sand. I would not have caved. Um, but hey, look, the Dallas Cowboys are better, and that's all I really care about, to be honest. So I'm shaking my head. I'm not totally upset. I just wouldn't have caved. And it's interesting. The crazy thing is, I think the contract doesn't start for 2 more years. So Jerry Jones might be secretly laughing. I don't know. Okay, you know what the total number right now that Ezekiel Elliott will be getting? Listen, he won't even see it, but 8 years from now, he will be paid a total, if he lasts the whole time,
Right.
$103 million. That's the 90 plus the 13 he's getting in the next 2.
Right.
That's $103 million for a running back. Now, the question you have to ask yourself, Mike, I'm going to ask you this question. Are they going to run Zeke into the ground for the next 3 years and be, you got paid about 40 million. You're not going to see the other 60 million because you're pretty much washed up, dude. You're 28 years old and you're washed up. Or are they going to say, you know what, Zeke, we really want you. No more rushing titles for you. That's why we drafted Tony Pollard. You're going to get around 1,100 a year. You're not going to get 1,800 because that'll be running you into the ground. We want you to last and be good when you're 29, 30 years old. And we have Tony Pollard here, and we're going to keep drafting young running backs. Like I mentioned, Kenny Ballage out of Arizona State for Kenyon Drake, so Drake doesn't have to get the total carries. So are they going to make Zeke's career last with Tony Pollard and see if, and not run him into the ground? Or are they going to laugh to the bank and recoup about half of that money because Ezekiel Elliott will be cut in 3 years because he'll have run for another 5,000-6,000 yards and he'll be washed up?
So
that
let
remains
me
to be seen.
Yeah, so let me answer that question for you. If the Cowboys are smart, they will run Ezekiel Elliott into the ground over and over again. Get the value out of him now while you can. Once Ezekiel Elliott is washed up and he gets cut and signs with the Tennessee Titans, i.e. DeMarco Murray a couple years ago, then look for the Cowboys to have a 2 running back system. They already have Pollard in set. Pollard is learning how to be a professional or learning how to play the game behind Zeke. Right now, for the next 3 to 4 years, he might get some carries, 5-6 carries a game of tops, and he's going to learn how to run the ball. He's going to learn how to compete 4 years down the road when Zeke can barely get out of bed and like in the morning. He is cut, he is done. Pollard is up, and then at the same time they're drafting the second tailback to do a 2 tailback system because that is what the NFL is nowadays. Look at the Patriots; they have 3 tailbacks that get 10 carries a game. Sony Michel, Whitehead, and then there's that other guy.
James White.
Yeah. So a 2 tailback system is the way of the NFL right now, especially with this pass happy offense.
Right.
With that being said, you do run Ezekiel Elliott down into the ground for 3 years, especially if they cannot sign Amari Cooper to a long-term contract.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way. Let's just say Zeke averages. There's no way he sees that 8th year.
Not at all.
I mean, let's just say
the average life of a tailback is, I believe, it's 26 years old, maybe 27. 4 years to 5 years tops in the league.
Yeah, can you imagine, like say he gets 1,300 yards. Say he's a freak of nature and gets 1,300 yards for the next 8 years.
Right.
He'd be on the way to breaking Emmitt Smith's record. I mean, that's not going to happen.
Right.
So, no, I mean, I'm agreeing with you more on that. They're not going to, prolong his career. I think it's a total of $103 million. I think he sees about maybe half of that.
Yeah.
He'll see about $50 million in the next 3 years.
So on the surface, the Cowboys look like they lost. It looks like they are, they set the market, et cetera, et cetera. But let's flash back to 2011. Adrian Peterson actually set the running back market. What he signed, what was it, a $40 million guaranteed money for the Vikings, and he shortly got hurt. I believe it was like the very next year or that same year. With all that being said, the Cowboys come out winners on this because, like you said, that contract doesn't start for 2 more years. So this year and next year, he's still only making the $16 million. So they're going to run him into the ground these next 2 years. And just depending on how that contract is, does he get, a upfront 20 or 30 million, or does he, is it spread out? Is it $9.3 million over those 6 year span? I don't know the actual details of the contract whatsoever. And with the off-field issues that he's had the last couple years, this guaranteed money could be out the window if he shoves another security guard. It could be out the window if he tears off the top of a female again. So
right, and I misspoke. I said 50 years. 50 million over 3 years. It's actually 50 million, probably in the 50 million probably in the next 4 years.
Yes.
Yeah. because I think the contract's like $15 million per year after not this year but next year. So yeah, it's around $50 million for the next 4 years. 4 years of Zeke, and then that other $53 million, he won't see it. You're right. I mean, he will not. I say Zeke's good for another 4 years, and that's just the way it is, man. That's just. And Tony Pollard could be a beast in 4 years, and we could be looking at now. He won't be Zeke beast that type, but Tony Pollard could be looking to sound like a $30-40 million deal as our running back. So yeah, I mean, you never know what can happen. I just it's just a lot of posturing and all of the BS back and forth and all that. It gave us good radio and good podcasts and stuff to talk about. But man, it did. If you were going to give him $50 million guaranteed, you should have had him in camp about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then you wouldn't have this trouble this maybe trouble coming up of, whoa, he doesn't know this, he doesn't know all the nuances of the system, he may get hurt. So Pollard should still be real prevalent in this game plan coming up here against the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not too worried about him learning the play schemes, because I really feel like he should have had a playbook working with Falk down there in Cabo or wherever he was at.
Yeah.
So hopefully he does know the plays. Maybe just the timing is just a tad off. But the Cowboys are practicing 2 days, so hopefully that timing gets worked out in the next 3 or 4 days. But if Zeke does touch a ball more than 15 times in this first game versus the New York Giants, the question is answered right there. The Cowboys are going to run Ezekiel into the ground.
I think 15 is a great number. I think you just threw out a great number. I don't think it should be over 15. To be honest, like in this against the Giants in this first week out, Zeke should have 15 carries for about 80 yards.
Yes. And
a touchdown. And Pollard should have about 10 carries for about 50 yards. And Alfred Morris should have about 10 carries for about 50 yards and a touchdown.
Yes.
This game should look like a college game for the Cowboys, where the colleges have like 3 different running backs and they all do well. Now, then eventually, Zeke will be the main one probably next week and the following week, against Miami and Washington and so on and so forth. Real quick, Mike, I want to touch on. We didn't really get a chance to talk about La'el Collins' sign. You see Dallas working here, man. They are really I mean, they're really building this offensive line to be the beast and maintain. Byron Jones looks like he could be the odd man out. I mean, the defense is good in Dallas. Looks like, from what I understand about the cap and the money, it looks like they made and I actually didn't agree with this, to be honest. They actually made a conscious decision of, if we're going to sign Zeke to big money, we're going to sign Dak to big money, we're going to franchise Amari Cooper probably, and we can get into that tomorrow or Friday or some other time about Amari's contract, because I think this changes things for Amari as well. But the Cowboys made a decision here, I think, over La'el Collins over Byron Jones.
You're right.
I really do. And I think I know the method to the madness why. I would have chose Byron Jones over La'el Collins, because I think we can draft. They drafted Connor McGovern to play guard, kid from Penn State. We've drafted Connor Williams out of UT to play right tackle. So I would have probably chose to keep Byron Jones, who reminds me a lot of Quentin Jammer from UT. But I think this tells me a couple of things, okay? This tells me that Tyron Smith, if his back gives out, let's just say Tyron Smith, this is dangerous because you look at the Andrew Luck situation. Tyron Smith has made a lot of freaking money, right?
Right.
He's going to give it a go this year. You know how many times he sat out for that back in the last 3 years?
A lot.
A bunch. And then, Dak even paid the price for it. He got sacked 6 times. You remember that Atlanta game, Adrian Claiborne?
Yeah, ugly game.
Sacked him like 6 times. It was ridiculous. And that's Jason Garrett's fault for not moving La'el Collins to left tackle. But that's another story. But this is what I think happens. I think if Tyron Smith retires, they wanted La'el Collins in the fold. They're going to move La'el Collins to left tackle where he played at LSU. Okay? So picture Tyron Smith gone. Like, you know what I mean? His back is going to retire.
That's a tough picture, though.
Yeah, but La'el Collins will take his place. They're not going to be in the market to look for some paper. They're already paying their left tackle. Possibly it's La'el Collins.
Right.
La'el Collins is going to move to left tackle. That leaves right tackle to Connor Williams, and then they'll insert in Connor McGovern at right guard. That's just my theory on why they chose to pay La'el Collins over Byron Jones, because Tyron Smith could be done. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think we're going to see Tyron Smith at 32 years old giving it a go for like 10 games a year for his back. I think his wife will say, hey, honey, You're retiring. Have you been watching the football lately? People are retiring early with all that guaranteed money.
Right.
So I think La'el Collins will eventually, in a couple years, remember I'm saying this, he will take Tyrod Smith's spot at left tackle. That's why they chose him over Byron Jones. Just to give you a little tidbit on how my mind's working there. And
I think you're nailing it right on the head because they have that offensive line locked up to what 2023 or 2024. Yes. They are built to run the ball for the next 4 years, and like we said earlier, run Zeke into the ground.
Right, and Connor Williams was a great pick in that second-round pick, 50th overall selection, because right now Connor's playing guard, right? But Connor is a tackle, and he'll go to right tackle once La'el moves to left tackle. So you have your offensive line set for many years to come, even with Tyrod Smith retiring. I'm just thinking ahead. I think it's Will McClay. I don't think the Joneses even have my brain. I think it's Will McClay thinking this stuff up. And real quick, going back to Ezekiel Elliott, and I hate the way they caved on it a little bit. I'm happy, though. It's not my money. I'm happy that we're
it was
better.
My money.
Yeah, I wish it was my money, right? Because I wouldn't have caved. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would not have caved. I think Dallas would be sitting there 3-0. Listen to this now. I think we'd be 3-0 with Alfred Morris and Tony Pollard beating Washington, the Giants, and Miami, not in that order. And I think Rocky and Ezekiel Elliott would have to go, damn. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to settle on Le'Veon Bell money.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I think they would have caved.
Yeah, and just to add to your point there, the Cowboys could have easily started 3-0, 4-0, maybe even 5-0 without Zeke on the field. So
right, at least 3-0 because the fourth game is against New Orleans, and that would have been the big one. I think Zeke would have showed up, but
right. Hey. But on the flip side of the coin, we do have 3 weeks to ease Zeke into the season so he doesn't get hurt. So hopefully Jason Garrett is on board with kind of easing him in. 15 touches a game tops. If it's a passing situation, get Zeke out of there so he is not taking unnecessary blows from a blitzing linebacker or blitzing cornerback. So
and I don't go ahead.
No.
Yeah, I don't want to give, everybody keeps talking about these 3 easy games will be 3-0. I think they'll be 3-0, but let me just tell you something. I think the Giants are I think we're going to whoop the shit out of the Giants, to be honest. Agreed. But that at Washington is always scary. Let me just tell you, Washington is nowhere near, doesn't have the talent Dallas has right now. And then on the quarterback, they don't have a lot of things that Dallas has. But that's one of those, I don't even want to call it a trap game because it's Redskin week. You cannot call the Washington Redskins a trap game.
No.
Because it's one of the biggest rivalries in NFL history, just like the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers, who we're going to see here in about 20-something, 30-something hours, whatever that is, 40, whatever. What's today, Wednesday? Holy shit. We're about 27 hours away from seeing the greatest rivalry of all time. Washington and Dallas is up there. You can sometimes throw the records out on these victories. You know, it's funny when the Washington Redskins have won the Super Bowl and Dallas hadn't been that good. Dallas has beaten them that year, because they gear up. When Dallas, I'll never forget, in 1995, Dallas won the Super Bowl. Washington beat us twice and they sucked.
You're right, 100% correct.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So these are big rivalries, and let me just tell you something. In the middle of Washington's defense is a guy named Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. You know who those guys are?
I know.
They were the number 1 and number 2 defensive tackles for Alabama. Like Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen they're Nick Saban's, they're supposed to be all pros. So they're not just going to let Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott just run around.
Right.
So you got to get those 2 guys blocked. That's the mainstay of their defense, those 2 defensive tackles from Alabama. So we will beat Washington, but I don't want to talk about Washington like 27-0 drinking. It could be if Case Keenum throws a few interceptions.
Right.
But then Miami will whoop their ass. So Dallas should be 3-0. I just want to put a little disclaimer on Washington. It won't be as easy as people think.
I want to put a disclaimer on them as well, because they started the season, what was it, 7-1 this past year before Alex Smith broke his leg, and they went through three or four quarterbacks in like a 2-week span. So that defense is still there. That offense is still there. The only missing piece that they have is the quarterback situation, and they have they do have a veteran in Case Keenum there, and then they have a pretty damn good rookie in like Haskins. So definitely don't be sleeping on the Washington Redskins this year, even though I think I do have them going like 5-12, I think, on the season.
Yeah, even if they do go 5-11, I almost guarantee you about 3 of those victories will be inside the division.
Right.
Let's just hope it's not Dallas.
Right. So we're talking about money and big paydays, and the Rams done it. They locked up their guy Jared Goff, the highest NFL contract ever, $134 million, extending him to the 2024 season. Does Jared Goff deserve that kind of money?
No. I mean, they're paying him like he's Dan Marino. Listen, let me just say this too. I love Jared Goff. He was easily my number one pick in that draft coming out. It was not Carson Wentz. I didn't see enough of Carson Wentz. Whatever Dakota State he played for. Good guy, 6'5", makes all the throws.
Right.
Jared Goff to me was the number one overall pick. As a matter of fact, if I was running the Dallas Cowboys, that was the year Dallas had the 4th overall pick. I am so sick of not having good quarterbacks. Like, in other words, we went from Aikman to Romo, and in between there was Clint Sterner, who's on Houston radio, good guy, by the way, Ryan Leaf, Vinny Testaverde, Drew Bledsoe, Anthony Wright. You want me to keep going? Quincy Carter.
Yep.
I mean, it was horrific.
Ugly.
Before we got Aikman to Romo, it was horrific. I didn't want to go through any of that crap. I didn't know how good Dak Prescott was.
Nobody did.
So
if anybody says Dak was going to be like this, they're lying to you.
They're lying. Now Trent Dilfer didn't think that Dak was going to be, but he did say that after being around Dak,
yes,
that Dak had the work ethic of like a Tom Brady type. But so what? A lot of people might have that work ethic, but you got to have the talent too. Okay, so but Trent Dilfer did say that. I remember that. But I did not want to go through a litany of bad quarterbacks. So that was when Dallas had the 4th overall pick. If I'm running the Cowboys, I would have said the hell with Patrick Ramsey, Bosa, and Ezekiel Elliott. I don't care about any of those 3. I would have went from 4th to 1 and given up my number 1 for next year and taken Jared Goff. Jared Goff would be a Dallas Cowboy if I was running the Cowboys, because I was just really scared about I take Zeke and okay, so we're just going to be bad for many. Like, we have this great running back, like Saquon Barkley's about to do.
Right.
Saquon Barkley's about to go through how many 5-11 seasons, and he's going to be a great fantasy player. Congratulations. You know what I mean? Like, it's not what does it mean?
You're right.
It means nothing except fantasy football. So I would have taken Jared Goff. Now, Jared Goff went with Jeff Fisher and Chris Weinke, was not a good recipe for him. He looked bad, and everybody was calling him bust and all that. I wasn't one of those because I know the guy has talent. You put him with an offensive mind like a Bruce Arians or a quarterback whisperer, Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. God, that guy just says poof and they throw for 400 yards.
Right.
You put him with a Sean McVay, a Doug Peterson, even coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Then you would have seen Jared Goff blossom. I don't know that's a good one. At the time, Scott Linehan and Jason Garrett, would they have been the right people for Jared Goff? Maybe, maybe not. But they would have been a hell of a lot better than Chris Weinke and Jeff Fisher, what Goff went into. But now that Sean McVay's there, now Goff has blossomed. He's become one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think it's more of the system than Goff, why he throws for all those yards and touchdowns and all that. So I understand that aspect of it, but I don't want to take away. He does have talent. He would have been my number 1 overall pick in that draft. But they're paying him like Dan Marino, and eventually I think that will come back and bite them. Like, in other words, he's going to take a lot of the cap. They better get their Super Bowl this year, next year, because I think in 4 or 5 years from now, or like 3 years from now, when they're paying him most of that, a good chunk of that cap, and Aaron Donald, a couple of players. I think they have a couple of players that are making like most of that cap, like 4 players. It's not good for teams. The owners and the players. I think there's going to be a strike coming up or something alone, because this can't be good. You better be a great drafting team if you're going to pay 3 or 4 players 40% of your cap. The other 60% better be a great unrestricted free agents that you sign for cheap, and great draft picks that are on the minimum, or like Dak has been under the 600,000 or whatever. Right. So Jared Goff, he better win the Super Bowl, or he's got there already. But he better win this. They better win the Super Bowl in the next couple of years, because I don't think the Rams in 3 or 4 years are going to be competing for the Super Bowl, because they're paying 3 or 4 players too much money.
Well, and they have an aging defense as well. Like that whole secondary, I believe it is over 30 years of age. So just keep that in mind as well. But Jared Goff is a perfect rags to fame type of story. because after that first or second year, he was almost on his way out of the NFL. He was just not performing. Just like you said, people thought like he was a bust, and then the Rams hired their they hired their coach. They moved to LA and they blew up. So I do think this is a system quarterback. If you put Jared Goff on any other offense, I think he's still going to be pretty good. Do not get
Yeah.
my words twisted, but he will not be worth $137 million. So I don't think really anybody is worth that type of
Right.
money, because when one player's taking 25% of your salary cap on a 52-man team, like, you are doomed. Look at it, Russell. This like the Seahawks, they're doomed.
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions doomed. Like the Atlanta Falcons doomed. So you have the fifth $100 million guy, and on a team that has to win right now. So
Yes.
with that being said, if the Rams do not win right now, I think this is the biggest, dumbest move they could have possibly made. But on the flip side of the coin, what happens if Jared Goff throws for 5,000 yards again? They're going to he will want $200 million. He want 225
Yeah.
million dollars. What this ultimately comes back on is the next quarterback that is due money, i.e. Dak Prescott. He is going to set the market too. He's going to want $138 million.
Yeah.
And then next year, after Patrick Mahomes has another MVP season and throws for 6,000 yards, he's going to want $250 million.
Yeah.
At some point, this has to stop. So I do kind of like what you said about a month ago, where the quarterbacks need their own salary cap, and then
Yeah.
and the rest of the team. Like, if there's going to be so much emphasis on the quarterback position, yes, it's a very hard position to play. You have to be smart, you
Yeah.
have to be agile, you have to be athletic. So they do earn the money that they're making. But if you want a competitive team, you cannot pay your quarterback $100 million. It's been
Yeah.
proven year in and year out.
Yes. I wonder, who I wonder who thinks about this stuff is Tom Brady. He takes hometown discounts, and
Right.
he's got to be going like, I want to know who broke the news to him. I wish that was me. Hey man, Jared Goff just signed for a NFL record 134 million and 110 million NFL record
As
guaranteed.
he flashes his Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, I mean, Brady would have to chuckle and finish his grilled chicken with veggies. Like, wow. Like, Brady doesn't even get that. I
Right.
mean, he has got to be like, damn, man. You know what I mean? Like,
What I think Tom Brady signed his biggest contract this year. What was it, 2 years, $23 million or something
23
like that.
million. Yeah, that's his biggest contract. He has got to chuckle a little bit and go, wow. You would think that they could go to Jared Goff. I mean, that they wouldn't have to do this. I mean, you would think people would take hometown discounts to keep, because this is a hard cap to keep. This isn't the NBA, okay? Like, where you can go outside the cap, or Major League Baseball where there's no cap. But you would think like you could go to Jared Goff and say, hey, like, we could pay you this, but then we won't be able to do this, and this. I find it hard pressed, and it probably will happen. It'll be another day where I'm shaking my head. If Dak Prescott tops Jared Goff with more than $110 million guaranteed, like an NBA contract, I still will be floored, even though I see it coming. I still will be floored. That's just incredible to me. And I do think the quarterbacks need their own cap. I really do. And somebody told me that it would make them more ostracized from the team. Like, the team would look at them, yeah, you got your own cap.
Right.
But those are the dumb players that would look at it that way. If you have your own cap, that's more money for me. Quarterback, defensive tackle, defensive end. You get your own cap, and then we'll go. In other words, you got your own stuff. That puts more money in my pocket than the rest of the team has the same salary cap. Just take out the quarterback. That means that you take out that quarterback's $27 million a year. Now you spread that around to the safeties and guards.
Right.
So that means more money to me. So that wouldn't bother me at all if I'm a player, that a quarterback getting his own cap number. That's just more money in my pocket. So yeah, get your own cap, quarterback. We don't hit you anyway, you know.
Right. I mean, like I see what you're saying, and I definitely agree with the quarterback salary cap. But I kind of want to allude something that like you said, kind of in passing, that you see a strike coming. That is because what the I believe the player's contract is up in 2 years with the NFL. What do you think the strike is going to be about? Is it going to be about the cap? Is it going to be about the money, the 18 games? Like, what do you think the strike's going to be about?
Listen, it was definitely going to be about money. The owners will dig their. Listen, if you're from the owner's standpoint, just speaking as if I was an owner, this can't keep happening.
You're right.
Like, so you're going to take a quarterback that some people say right around 10th or 11th best in the league, and then he's going to Dak Prescott, right? He's going to set the market. So it just keeps going up and up. Now, these quarterbacks that have gotten paid recently, Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford, no playoffs. Okay. Matter of fact, their winning percentage has gone down.
Right.
So it's going to have to come down. It can't just keep setting markets. So what are we doing here? In other words, so after Dak, then maybe Deshaun Watson, holy smokes, is he going to get like Jared Goff just got 110 million. Dak gets 115 million guaranteed. Deshaun Watson with ACL surgeries is better than both of those players combined, talent-wise. Deshaun Watson, I put him right behind Mahomes as listen, you might be upset about it, but you shouldn't be. If Deshaun Watson was the starting quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, you should still expect to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That guy is as talented as they come. I watched it, Michael. This guy goes back to pass. He has no time, and he's making something out of nothing in the ground. And then when he has time, he's not just some play-around quarterback, like on the run throwing. When you give him time, have you watched him? He's about as accurate as you can get.
You're 100% correct.
So this dude's a freaking him and Mahomes, dude, and I think Baker's third.
Yeah.
Of guys who I'd start a franchise with. So does that mean that Deshaun Watson and Baker Mayfield are going to go for $150 million guaranteed?
Yeah.
$200 million? That's incredible to me. If I'm the owners, I got to have this come down and back to earth.
Well,
we got to bring this back down. I love Dak Prescott, but as an owner, Michael, I can't have the 10th best quarterback in the league set the market. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're 100% correct. I'm with you 100% on board.
And then from the NFL players' perspective, they're going to want to strike because they want a bigger piece of the pie. They want more guarantee. They're looking at NFL and Major League Baseball, how those guys can just basically retire. I'll never forget, this was about 15 years ago, Dean Palmer of the Texas Rangers. He's a good player, tried to come back from injury and all that. The Texas, this is a long time ago now. This is about 20 years ago. The Texas Rangers still owed him $33 million for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
He just retired, sat back on his couch, and the $11 million came each year for the last 3 years of his deal. Can you imagine getting in that line of work?
Right.
He didn't have to go to work anymore. So, like, the NFL players hardly get any of that luxury. And so it's about time that they speak up and they get – so this is going to be – we're coming to something here that could be a battle royal.
Yes. And like you are speaking from the owner's point of view, let me speak as a fan's point of view here. Every time the market gets reset, that money has to come from somewhere.
Yes.
These sponsors aren't paying more, the TV deals aren't spending more. It is me, the fan, going to the game. This $5 hot dog is now a $7 hot dog.
Yes.
That $147 ticket now is $247. Like if those tickets,
Yes.
like if the prices keep going up, like me and my wife are going to 4 NFL games. We're going to the Detroit, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Steelers, and then the Titans versus the Saints, and again Chiefs versus the Oakland. So
Right.
we are spending roughly around $1,500 to go to these games as far as tickets and travel,
Right.
and all that stuff. If ticket prices keep going up, travel prices keep going up, you guys will not have my $1,500 to go to these games. Therefore, you cannot pay Jared Goff $137 million. You cannot pay Dak Prescott $150 million. So you are 100%
Yeah.
correct. That there has to
And then
be a ceiling at some point. We cannot keep inflating the prices, hurting the public, such as myself that enjoy going to these games, that enjoy supporting my team and the
yes,
and like in the
I agree.
and like in the players. Because
Yeah.
to be totally honest, I get a better view sitting in my chair right here
Right. You
on
do.
my 65-inch
Right.
TV and enjoy the game. I don't have to stand in line for an hour to go to the bathroom. I don't have to stand in line for a half hour to get a beer. I'm like, hey, honey, I need some queso and a beer. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. So
Right. No, I agree. And then, man, I'm so glad I don't drink, man. You guys pay $12, $15 for a beer sometimes. Like it's
exactly,
insane. But I do pay like $15 for a barbecue sandwich and some kettle chips.
yeah.
That's a lot of fun. And the barbecue sandwich is pretty good, man. But it ain't worth $15 and some kettle chips. Like
You're right.
it's amazing. $12 chicken strips, man. I mean, you
Yeah,
come out of some pocket. Let me just say this: I'm a Houston Texans season ticket holder, and I've been so since 2008. Each year it's gone up
right.
to be like each year it's a price increase, and I'm still paying it. But man, I mean, let's hope you don't price somebody like me out of there. A middle class guy. If you start doing that, but a lot of times, Michael, they don't care about the fans, man. They get the TV money and all that,
You're right.
but they better start caring because you said something that was 100% correct. To get up and go, and the snow and the heat and all this crap and parking and paying $12 for some chicken strips and some fries, sometimes $15 for a hot dog I mean, it's ridiculous. A hot dog and some chips. They're getting people to say, you know what, I'm going to stay at home.
Yeah,
I'm going to watch it on my 55-inch TV. You got a 65, I got a 55. We're both good. I can sit here.
yeah.
I don't have to have the hassle going and stuff like that. So, yeah, if they start seeing empty seats because of that, that won't be good for the NFL too. Because as Brent Musburger says, you are looking live, and you don't want to look in a live to empty stadiums. And let me tell you something: the Bengals in that group and Mr. Brown, the owner Brown, coach, the owner Brown, he's got a problem. Every time I watch a damn Bengals game on TV, you watch it and it looks real nice. They got the elevators going up, and it looks like a nice stadium.
Yeah.
I'm not sure remember the state, but man, it seems like it's always half empty. I don't know how the hell they survive. And then
Yeah.
so I mean, it's always when you got the Bengals at home, man. I'm like, man, that there's like a 65,000, and it looks like there's about 35,000 there. So the NFL's got to, if everybody starts doing that, if Jerry World starts becoming half empty,
Yeah.
because people would rather stay at home and you're pricing them out, that would be a major problem.
Yeah, but like I kind of see this happening in the next 5 or 6 years because you still have those solid fan bases like the Kansas City Chiefs, like the Oakland Raiders, like the Cowboys. Those teams travel well and they will always fill stadiums. Last year, I went to the Cowboys Colts game. I feel like there were more Cowboys fans there than there were Colts. So as long as you have those fan bases traveling from stadium to like stadium, and the games that are on TV look full, they are fine. Just
Yeah.
that the minute that a Monday night game has 6,000 empty seats, then you're going to have an issue. Then you'll have an
Yeah,
issue.
that's why it's very careful who they pick the Monday night games for.
Yeah.
You better pick those stadiums right, and so the fan base shows up there. Yeah, absolutely. You notice you don't see the Cincinnati Bengals at Cincinnati on Monday Night Football.
Right.
I don't understand that, man. There's a and the Houston Texans fans are pretty cutthroat too. Now we show up.
Right.
I don't do this, but man, they'll boo your ass.
Yeah.
You leave the first half and you haven't scored yet, you get booed off the field.
So it is funny that you brought that up. I remember it was the St. Louis Rams. It was a Monday night game. They were playing the San Francisco 49ers. They had more San Francisco 49er fans there than the St. Louis Rams, and they had to close off the upper bowl because the place was empty, and they moved everybody down, and the stands were still half full. You could hear fans having full conversations in the middle of the game on that Monday night game. So
wow, not a good look there.
You're right. So with all that being said, we have broke down most of the NFL teams this year. We gave them records and stuff like that. I have not had time to put them into the playoff predictor yet to figure all this out. But if you guys would like, follow us on Facebook, the Marcus and Mike Show on Facebook. Go ahead and like that page. And by tonight, I will have what Marcus has for playoffs and what I have for playoffs. But with that being said, Marcus, who are your Super Bowl representatives preseason that you think are going to happen this year?
I think it'll be the Cowboys and the Chiefs, and I think it will be a high-scoring affair, and Dallas will lose that high-scoring affair. And I would put if I had some money, which I do, but I'm not. I don't think I could get convinced to waste it if it doesn't happen. But I'm itching to. I'd put my money on. I think the Chiefs are like 7.5 to 1,
right,
to win the Super Bowl, and I just have the Chiefs outscoring the Cowboys in an epic game. The Cowboys defense will be tired, but that'll be like week 19 for the Cowboys. They'll be tired. Trust me, just they'll wear down a little bit like the Rams, and like the Rams did. The Rams wore us down even in the second playoff game. They wore the Cowboys defense down. We're talking now a couple weeks later in the Super Bowl. I think Mahomes will have a big day. I think Patrick Mahomes will be the NFL MVP. I think Shady McCoy will be there. Damian Williams. Now this puts in weird because I thought Kareem Hunt would come back week 9 and be a factor, but he could. I mean, they could, but that's a lot of luxury there at running back if everybody's healthy. People get hurt though, so you just never know.
Right.
But man, Tyreek Hill, he'll break the game open and run a punt back, a kickoff back, and now the game is broke open, and I'm looking at Dallas will give up about 40 something points in the Super Bowl, and they'll only score about 30. So I'm looking at like a 41-30 Super Bowl. Chiefs, it'll be competitive for a while, but I think Dallas won't match the scoring, especially if Tyreek Hill takes a kick back to the house,
right,
a kickoff return or a punt return or something like that, and it'll just be too much. Dallas will be trying to keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes and the boys, but and they will for a good percentage, but they just won't keep up the scoring. I see the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I do love those picks a lot. I do think the Dallas Cowboys will be the NFC representative on my side of things. I like what they've done. I think I had them going 13-3 in the regular season. Zeke is back, and he's going to ease into those first three weeks. So during the playoffs, it'll be like week 14 for like him. So he'll be full going 100%. There's no stopping the Cowboys in the NFC side of things. Now the AFC side, I just want to put an asterisk by this. I am a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I bleed red. I wear red every Friday on Red Fridays. I've been a Kansas City Chiefs fan since 1988. They're my boys.
Right.
But the Chargers are a dangerous team. They have a defense. They have an offense. Phillip Rivers is going to go to his first Super Bowl this year, beating the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game at Arrowhead Stadium. So they'll be a wild card team going to the Super Bowl to play the Cowboys. And I think the Cowboys are going to beat the Chargers, though, because the Cowboys will be more fresh because that bye week is going to help them a lot.
Wow.
So.
Hey, I would love that. I mean, don't get it twisted. And let me say this. I am not a Chiefs fan. I just believe that the Chiefs have the best quarterback and the best offense in the NFL, and that's why I think, they'll get there. I'm not a Chiefs fan at all. So, but Chargers could bite them. I agree. Now, it's a big loss for to be honest, Phillip Rivers lost Tyrell Williams,
yes,
who scored a few touchdowns against the Chiefs. Big kid, 6'4", 6'5", and he's now with David Carr over there in Oakland, and he's actually questionable for Week 1. I don't know why, but I just saw that. But no, Chargers are a beast. I mean, but they're without Tyrell Williams and without Melvin Gordon. I think that's huge. I like Austin Eckler though, but I don't know if he can. He's not Melvin Gordon. But hey, listen, I just if that happens though, Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. Hey man, I'm all for it.
Right,
that's awesome.
And I do want to put a little bit of asterisk by that pick as well. If Melvin Gordon does not return to the Chargers by week 3 or week 4. Look for the Chargers to be in talks with the Cleveland Browns to get Kareem Hunt to the Chargers. And wouldn't that be a story? Yes. Kareem Hunt playing his old team in the AFC Championship and the Chargers beat them at Arrowhead.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. If I'm the GM of the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chargers calls me and says, we want Kareem Hunt.
Well, Hunt is with the Browns.
Yeah, okay, I take that back. I'm sorry about that. If they call, same thing. I'm sorry. If they call me, I'm the Browns. They're one of my competitors.
Right.
I don't know if I would be more apt to trade Kareem Hunt to an NFC team.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Like, in other words, I don't want Kareem Hunt coming back and biting me in the ass. Here we are, Chargers at Cleveland. Kareem Hunt runs for 180. You know, and helps out Phillip Rivers. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And it dooms my ass. I'd rather send him to the NFC. So, I'd be asking for at least a second round pick for Kareem Hunt. Like, I'm not giving Kareem Hunt to one of my rivals, the Cleveland Browns or anybody.
Right.
For like a fourth or fifth round pick. I'm holding on to him.
I see what you're saying 100% there. But hopefully my picks are wrong because I would love to see nothing else but bring a championship to Kansas City or even the Cowboys. So
Hey, it's funny on my pick though, my Cowboys and Chiefs pick. I have the Chiefs holding the Lombardi Trophy.
right.
But man, if the Cowboys even lost the Super Bowl, I mean, when they go 8-8, they start off Sports Center, right?
Yeah.
When they lose the division, like they're still like, they're like America's team. They're the brand, the Cowboys. If they make it to the Super Bowl and they have an NFC Championship, like I know Jerry Jones won't be totally satisfied, but dude, it'll almost be like they won the Super Bowl. Like
Yeah.
I'm not joking. The Chiefs. Okay, I'll be willing to bet you this. Ready? After the Chiefs beat the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, from now on, after Kansas City's parade, tell me how many times the Chiefs lead off Sports Center into the offseason or the Cowboys.
Oh, it'd be the Cowboys nine out of 10 times.
It'll be like the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Like, oh yeah, it wasn't the Cowboys. Oh yeah, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
The only way the Chiefs will lead off Sports Center ever is if another Tyreek Hill or Kareem Hunt issue happens again. Like Patrick Mahomes, like he goes and spills some ketchup or
he's
something.
whipping his kid or something. Yeah,
but hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully all that mess is cleaned up in Kansas City, or they've learned from the Tyreek Hill issue, kind of just keep it below wraps and kind of hush it aside. But with all that being said, we do have the Packers and the Bears playing on Thursday Night Football in about 27 hours away. I believe we both have the Bears winning this game from our preseason picks. Are you still going with the Bears in this Week 1 matchup?
And it's crazy because I just did my playoff stuff, and I have the Bears actually missing out on the playoffs. And I like the Bears, but I have them as the 7th seed. And guess what's wrong with the 7th seed? It doesn't get in. You have to at least be the 6th seed. So the Bears will have a good team. I think Minnesota wins the division, and I think the Bears and the Packers both miss the playoffs. I have the Vikings winning that division, but I do have the Bears. They're a good team though. I like the Bears. I have them barely missing the playoffs, like I said, and they will beat unless Aaron Rodgers pulls the game out his ass. I think they will beat the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
and it's not so often in your lifetime where like the Bears are. How many times? I bet in your lifetime, Michael, the Bears have not been favored over the Packers for like most of the time. It's always the Packers are favored over the Bears. So this is kind of unique where the Bears are supposed to be better than Aaron Rodgers and the Packers or Brett Favre and the Packers.
Yeah. Usually, if you put Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, you are almost guaranteed 11 wins on the season, 100%. But just to add to your point there, I actually have the Bears, Packers, and the Vikings all going 9-7. Okay. With the Packers and the Vikings splitting all their division games, and the Bears beating the Lions twice, therefore giving the Bears the division. And I was hell bent that the Bears were not going to make the playoffs this season. If you remember earlier, like I said, Mitchell Trubisky was overrated. The Bears were overrated, and like I was adamant about it. But breaking down the like the schedule, it looks like the Bears are going to, I guess you could say, sneak into the playoffs for the second straight year. But I do have the Bears winning this game as well. But this is a December game in September to start the season. This is basically almost a must win for both teams.
It's a big game. To start off right off the bat, like it's a pretty huge game. It's one of the best and oldest rivalries. It may be the best oldest rivalry in professional football. So and then looking at the Green Bay schedule, they play the Bears right off the bat, and they don't play the Bears until December. So it's one of those. Yeah, this is a
It's a
big
Week
one.
16 matchup, I think,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. They don't play the Bears for a while. Yeah,
Which is great for them, but it is
yeah.
what it is. So, guys, that's going to be it for today's show. Preseason Super Bowl. Marcus has the Chiefs winning. I had the Cowboys winning. And we won't be on tomorrow, so we're previewing
Yes.
tomorrow's game. We both had the Bears winning. What is your
Okay.
final score in that game?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'll go Bears 30. I think it's going to be close. I think Aaron Rodgers will throw an interception, and I think it's going to come down to Khalil Mack sacking Aaron Rodgers. Um, Aaron Rodgers usually doesn't throw too many interceptions. Let me walk that back. He'll throw an incompletion. He'll have that pressure uh, from Floyd and Khalil Mack. Floyd, their former first round pick out of Georgia. He'll be getting a lot of pressure, and so I see the Bears winning 30-27.
Yeah, and I'm going to go on the opposite side of that. I think the defenses are going to show up because the offenses are still trying to find their groove. It's a Thursday night game, opening game of the
Yeah.
NFL, like a lot of nerves happening. I'm going to go 17-9 Bears. I don't think Aaron Rodgers and the Packers find the end zone, but they do kick three field goals, helping my fantasy team. So, guys.
Yeah, Leonard Floyd was the kid I was talking about out of Georgia, their former first round pick. Leonard Floyd brings it. He's real on the skinny
Yeah.
side, but he brings it. He and Khalil Mack, and they also got Roquan Smith. I mean, dude, yeah, the Bears defense is nice, man. I mean, it's the real deal, man. Roquan Smith is out of Georgia. Another kid out of Georgia is a really good player.
All right, guys. So that's going to be it for today. We both have the Bears winning 30-27 on the Marcus side.
Yeah.
On Mike's side, 17-9. So, guys, join us
Wow,
Friday.
that low scoring.
That low scoring, 17-9.
Yeah.
So, guys, join us Friday as we talk some college football, throw out some pick'ems, some big games, and then we're going to break down some NFL games as well as the Week 1 NFL season really starts taking shape on Friday. So, join us Friday, same time, same place. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you Friday. Have a good day.